I'm Ashton from EventChain for Investment Pitch Media and FinTech News Network. And today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Melcom Copeland from Pundi X and Michael Luckhoo from DigitalBits. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being on the show. It's a pleasure to have you here today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Ashton. Thanks for having us.
You're very welcome. Could you please start by giving a short overview of your companies and the solutions that you're providing in the industry, starting with Melcom on Pundi?
Yeah, so Pundi X is a 2-year-old startup company. We established ourselves as a blockchain specialist, developing point-of-sale devices back in 2017. Point-of-sale devices are our flagship product today. It helps customers, or consumers, and merchants transact over the blockchain in physical point-of-sale stores. So what we're doing is really helping adoption for mass use of cryptocurrencies and digital currencies such as stablecoins. And as a blockchain technology provider, we also have developed this past year a blockchain phone. It's the first ever blockchain phone in the industry. And we have our own blockchain network as well on the testnet at this moment. And we'll be going live this year in 2020 with that.
Oh, that's very exciting. And Michael, if you could give a little bit of background on DigitalBits, that would be great.
Yeah, it's great. We're really focused around the same vision as Pundi X, really focused on mass scale adoption. How do we really drive into mainstream society and really utilize the benefits of the blockchain technology? So the main category that we're focused on is branded currencies. How do we bring branded currencies into blockchain and create the ability for people to use the assets that they've already earned? And this could be loyalty points, reward points, service credits, gift cards, and so forth. And now we're seeing a big shift into something called branded stablecoins. So we're really set up as a protocol and network layer blockchain to support the creation, the movement, and trade of these assets on the network, and really support a consumer digital assets sphere and drive mass scale adoption. So yeah, it's a very complementary fit working with Pundi X.
That's great. And now on November 5th, the announcement came out that the DigitalBits token was listed on the Pundi X POS system. And congratulations to both companies on that. Melcom, if you could touch on, what does this mean for Pundi X moving forward, and how do you see DigitalBits fitting into the ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, like what I mentioned earlier, I mean, our whole goal is for opening up channels to make it very easy for the masses, a layman person, to be able to transact over the counter using these alternative payment methods. Partnering up with DigitalBits was great for Pundi X. First and foremost, we have now a huge market in North America with Canada, with what we think is one of the biggest and most prime project in the blockchain industry in Canada with DigitalBits. So just opening that market up for us is really huge. We're based in Singapore, so what we're doing is really creating strategic partnerships all over the world. And DigitalBits targeting enterprise big brands is a huge factor for us to be able to scale our business.
That's great. And could you elaborate a little bit more on how this affects the end user and the overall adoption of cryptocurrency and blockchain into the mainstream industry, where people that aren't currently using cryptocurrencies are now becoming more ingrained in this technology?
Yeah, I think for us, being able to create foundation, core platforms, and partnering up with companies like DigitalBits, who are growing their brand in Canada, who are partnering themselves with large enterprise brands, is a huge first step in terms of, first and foremost, education to the end user and consumers, right? Mm-hmm. These are trusted relationships that are leveraged to be able to produce and commit to providing, what people need in the real world. I mean, I think right now education is the first step, moving towards adoption, and these large brands that DigitalBits are targeting is the first step towards that.
Mm-hmm. And this isn't something that happens every day, right? I believe there's a limited amount of coins that are integrated into the Pundi X system. Could you give a little bit of background on, how many coins are listed and how integrated are the POS systems into retailers throughout North America already?
Yeah, absolutely. At the current time, this in state today, we have 18 different digital assets that are listed on the ecosystem that we developed with Pundi X. That ecosystem consists of our point-of-sale device, our mobile wallet, as well as our NFC cards. So one of the things we've done this past year, is open up our platform through something called Open Platform, where blockchain companies can contact us directly through our website. What we're able to do there is vet different blockchain projects to find out whether or not there's a suitable or a nice synergy for us to list their token and project in our ecosystem. And DigitalBits is one of those. So, I mean, it's not like we're very selective, but, in this industry, very nascent, very, very early stages, we're very critical about the projects and tokens we do list. So today we have 18.
That's great. And Michael, now what does this mean on the DigitalBits side now that you've finalized the initialization of an integration for the POS system? How is this going to help with the enterprise adoption for cryptocurrencies through your company?
Yeah, it's quite simple. It's just more access to mainstream, more access to what people are already familiar with. And that's something that was really core to our beliefs. It's not changing learned behavior. It's doing things that people already do. PundiX, I think, understands that right at their core, especially with their XPOS card. It's something that people can physically feel like they're spending. So that's really what we're focused on. So we want to not just shift the way people do things overnight. We obviously love the fact that we can drive to this token economy, but what do we do now to create that? And that's really ultimately where we believe we can lend that value strategically with PundiX, introducing more brands to be a part of this, sharing that vision, creating those branded currencies on chain, and then by default having more off ramps into mainstream society, having more access points with the DigitalBits and obviously the PundiX platform. So that's really core to our belief. We don't want to stray away from things that are confusing to people. I think that's been done a lot already in the blockchain world, and we want to kind of bring it back to simple, basic use, and really share that vision with enterprise, because it's a little bit more easier to obviously adopt and manage when it's something that they've already been accustomed to. So that's really our core belief. Yeah.
That's great. And speaking of off ramps and on ramps, how comfortable are the enterprise brands and just general brands where you're making branded cryptocurrencies? Do they want to keep the token reward system inside of cryptocurrencies, or are they really keen on having those off ramps into fiats? And does PundiX help with that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because we're obviously educating the core benefits to incentivizing the consumers with real value. I think in recent years or in the past years, people have been de-incentivized, have been confused around all these point systems, have been confused about how they actually redeem value from the things that they've done with these brands. And by further incentivizing people to feel like it's real cash, at the end of the day, brings back that perceived value. And we're really kind of focused on driving that, because indirectly that's what drives brand loyalty. There's a whole host of other benefits that come with that, especially from a blockchain technology perspective, portability, security, and marketing intelligence to the brand. So we're able to kind of share that experience, but also really support what the consumers are looking for and make sure that it's of higher incentive ultimately. So, this is something that it hasn't been difficult. And the first kind of insight of us driving this is some things we've done. We've done events in the past with Loyalty Live, for example, was done in Chicago, and it was really fundamental to see legacy brands and enterprises and people with 25 years experience really come to those events and understand what we're doing. So, sharing that message and encouraging people to adopt this new wave is it's been great, and I've also really kind of looked at who has done this before or who is intending to do it, and that's driving some level of competition too. So it's nice to see.
Yeah. That's great. And loyalty points have been around for so long now, and there seem to be some early adopters that are starting to move to this next era, of digital currencies. Did you see when you were at that conference, is it starting to rub off on all of these companies? Because it seems every company can have loyalty points pretty much. So how warm welcome are they to jumping onto a platform like DigitalBits?
It's taking some time to penetrate the education around it, but once you do, it starts to click. They're starting to see that these traditional systems have inherent issues in friction, inherent issues in customer engagement, and also inherent issues in intelligence to who the consumer actually is. So something that we really determined, and that's why we think 2020 is going to be a pretty big year for this, is direct-to-consumer brands are really taking off, and they're putting a large pressure on what's called consumer packaged goods brands that don't really connect with the consumers. And through the deployment of some of these branded currencies, in specific, sometimes a branded stablecoin, they're able to create that direct connection. They're able to actually re-engage with that client, which they didn't have previously those type of limitations in technology. So we're starting to see that they're becoming more aware that they start to need to evolve with the times, and it's doing really well. It's nice, and there's a lot of research reports now that have been issued from some of these major loyalty companies in North America that expose and show the benefits of blockchain. And we've been featuring a few of those. So it's also really nice that it's now starting to mature as an industry, where we're not just talking about technical constraints, we're actually talking about real fundamental use cases.
That's great. And Melcom, there's been a few iterations of the Pundi POS system as well, and it seems to be getting better and better. What are your guys' plans for 2020 on making it even easier to get cryptocurrencies into the hands of retailers and consumers, and maybe even have them using it without even knowing the difference between, you're paying with your credit card, you're paying with the XPOS?
Yeah, I think you both hit some pretty interesting points there that are critical for the adoption point of view. I think regarding the education part and working with the larger brands in terms of different verticals that are very important for this industry, such as loyalty points, remittance, and just general payments, whether it's goods and services or even just being able to transact without having to even know, that, hey, this is cryptocurrency or blockchain, like you said, Ashton. I mean, behind the scenes, this is a very technical, very difficult technology to explain to the layperson. But if we make it really easy to use, and I think that's the key point, ease of use, and just emulating existing payment solutions like credit card devices on the countertop, but being able to transact in the digital currencies or cryptocurrencies, then look, we've done our job. So I mean, behind the scenes, it should be very seamless, right? So with merchants, what we're doing with them for onboarding, let's say for instance, is partnering up with local distribution and being able to support the merchants for onboarding and even post sales. So once they do have a device in their hand, it's very easy for them in terms of plug and play to use, operate, and very little training to be able to use and take transactions over the blockchain. So that's one of the things we're doing. As well as we're creating strategic partnerships and integrating with large manufacturers of point-of-sale devices already, such as Verifone and Ingenico, which are the two of the top 4 point-of-sale hardware device manufacturers worldwide. So in terms of scaling and getting our technology out there and blockchain-based transactions, partnering up with these large point-of-sale manufacturers is a key strategic decision for us, because you already have existing distribution. So again, you'll have folks on the ground in the field being able to work with their existing clientele through these large manufacturers to be able to use the XPOS platform and doing digital currency transactions, on our ecosystem. So that's a couple of the things that we're doing. I think also what's really interesting with blockchain and cryptocurrency, digital currency industry is the openness and I think the opportunity to create different commercial models, as well as offering potentially lower fees to the merchants to incentivize them to engage with us and deal in digital currencies and stable coins, as well as with consumers. Making it very easy for them, I think, is really key at this stage moving forward in 2020.
That's awesome. And I think that this partnership with DigitalBits is a great move forward into the North American markets, which are fully ingrained in all of these POS systems. And it seems that this integrating into the cryptocurrencies is the next step. So, Michael, what do you see as your strategic business goals moving into 2020?
Yeah, just similar to what we just touched on, is really focused on propelling brands, sharing and educating what the benefits are to blockchain branded currencies, and really focusing on various small, and medium, and large size businesses, because we see this as a massive shift in adoption. And we're starting to see that if we can start to move the first movers, we have the willing followers, and then we have the unwilling followers. And that's a shift in any type of mature cycle in an industry and innovation. And if we can start doing the things that we've been consistent at for the past 2 years, moving into 2020, we'll definitely be in the right position to support the industry of branded currencies. And really looking forward to making this propel blockchain in the right space. And just like Melcom said, it's about making things simple. We don't even need to say the word, this is a cryptocurrency. And at the end of the day, people just want to use and spend the things that they have and they've earned. And we want to make that happen. So it's a pretty exciting year. And I think that the industry is at the right point for it. So
I think so as well. And if people are looking to learn more information about DigitalBits and follow along with this, what's the best way for them to learn more?
Yeah, you could just check us out on DigitalBits at DigitalBits.org on Twitter. You can check out our Telegram or just write directly to our website, digitalbits.io. And just definitely stay tuned for the next few weeks. We have some pretty exciting updates to come. And this can be a pretty good kickoff to the year. So we're pretty excited.
That's very exciting. And Melcom, how can people follow along with Pundi X's updates for 2020 as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like most blockchain companies, we do have our social media channels that you can follow. So on Telegram, Twitter, PundiX.com, our main domain, as well as our sister company, functionx.io, which represents our proprietary, actually open blockchain network that's going to be launched on the mainnet hopefully this year, sometime in Q2, Q3 potentially. So they can find a lot about the blockchain phone, Bob for short, there as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I'll leave the links to both of your companies in the description box below. That's all the time that we have for the interview today, but it's been a pleasure speaking with you both. I'm really excited to see how this partnership flourishes throughout 2020, and all the best to you both for the rest of this year.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it.